Hello, I'm in the bar at Oranmore with Catrin Evans, who is one of the writers and the director of next week's play Demons. It's a show which has been written by the same big group of writers who did the Jean-Jacques Rousseau show, and Catrin contributed to that and has written some of next week's play and is directing it. Catrin, nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a bit about Demons.
Okay, so Demons, as David said, is a follow-up to the Jean-Jacques, or a companion piece to the Jean-Jacques Rousseau show. And the reason it's called Demons is we gave ourselves a sort of starting point, which was different from, with Rousseau there was a character driving it, which was obviously Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whereas this, we made it a little bit harder for ourselves and gave ourselves a quote to start from, which was that demonisation is the ideological backbone of an unequal society. And because I think lots of us felt like there was just lots of, we were dealing with inequality in Rousseau, but we weren't necessarily tackling it head on. And so I think people felt like there was just more to say and more to unpick, and obviously the climate is constantly changing. So in terms of the show, it's a similar format to Rousseau. It's a variety piece, there's lots of songs, it's fairly bonkers. But I think we're also trying to expose, explore, do some attacking of some issues around inequality, and that, you know, sort of poverty is there, but I think it's much more about distribution of wealth than it is about looking at one side of it.
Right.
I think
I'm quite interested that most of the writers are young writers, and I'm interested that many of them, although they're dealing with a really serious subject, turn to comedy to deal with it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think there's lots of reasons. Partly because I think they want to entertain audiences, because that's obviously the heart of theatre, and also because the nature of Oranmore is that I think people are looking for laughs as well as looking to be challenged, and so I think they've written with an Oranmore audience in mind, but I also think there's something deeper than that, which is about the absurdity of some of the things that are happening in the political world. And actually, satire and parody have always been a place where people fall, I think, when politics is looking particularly ugly.
Yes.
So I think it's quite a natural, and also I think there's something, particularly the format that we've got, which is a sketch format.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a through-line show.
Yes.
Is that you can really attack something, or whether that ideologically or whether that be theatrically, really quite directly through comedy.
Yes.
You know, you can package it up in a sort of 5-minute sketch in a way that if you try and use a different style, and actually we have had lots of pieces. There were loads of pieces that we haven't ended up using for all sorts of reasons, but often some of those were the ones where they sat in a slightly different genre, and we just, in the space that they had within the show, we weren't able to quite capture what the writer was intending, or was, I guess, the meat of what they were trying to explore. And so I just think comedy just lends itself to just getting in there and saying.
It's quite interesting too that certainly when I started Oranmore 8 years ago, political theatre was a kind of almost a no-go area.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, that old thing."
Yeah.
And now, all the young writers I know are politically engaged.
Yeah.
And is that a response to a particularly sharp time in politics,
maybe.
where people are being forced to take a position by the sheer crudity of the government?
I think so, but I also think, because it's funny, because when you started Oranmore, I was just graduating from university, and I, from the outset, claimed to be I'm a political theatre maker, I set up a political theatre company, and I got so many like, oh, really, you want to go down that route? And actually, so many people I knew that were making work as well, who were graduating either before me or, you know, around the same time. We were all politicised. I don't think we had the confidence to place our voice.
Right.
And actually, I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that you're now like, we're theatre makers.
Yeah.
And so it's also about, so it's almost like I think it's the two of those things coming together at the same time, which is that people are finding their voices and getting better at what they do, and so are more able to articulate why their politics is also important in their art.
Yeah.
And we're just surrounded by things that need explored all the time. So I think it's those two things coming together.
You have, if I, you don't mind me using the word, a most chaotic artistic life.
Yeah.
You're always juggling so many different things. Tell us about some of the other things you're doing at the same time.
Okay, so well, this week I've got an event last night which went really well, and it's 2 nights at the Tron called Border Control, which is a new writing event really, and we asked for submissions from writers to responding to issues around borders really, and that's been something that A Moment's Peace, the company that I run, has been interested in for a long time. And
why did you call your company A Moment's Peace?
Long story, but I'll try and be short. I guess it just felt right. I think a lot of when we first set up, the first show we made was a piece about verbatim piece responding to the Iraq War, and it just felt, we just played with lots of ideas, and it just felt like actually that's so much of what we were about as artists at the time, and what I certainly am still about, and with A Moment's Peace is that essentially we're looking for a more peaceful world and change towards that, and I think that theatre has a place in helping for that. But I never have A Moment's Peace, which is I don't know if it's irony or if it's just my own fault.
Because you also run loads of workshops.
Yes, so I've run a women's group called the Women's Creative Company, and that's sort of a space for anyone in Glasgow who feels creative but doesn't work in the professional arts, or anyone who's a woman, to come together and explore. So
if you're a woman and you don't have a space?
Yeah, Mondays 5:30 to 8 o'clock at the Mitchell Library. What else? And then I'm also in the process of working with Lewis Hetherington, playwright, and we're developing a show for Gridiron Theatre Company next year, which is called Leaving Planet Earth, which is going to be quite a big site-specific theatre piece. Which I've got a deadline for the first draft later in December actually. So that's looming, but that's very exciting.
And now you're going to go and do a run of
Demons.
Yes,
we are.
Which I'm going to come and see. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've got a way to go, but we'll get there one day.
Loads of songs.
Yeah, lots of songs, lots of sketches, lots of bonkers characters as usual. So.
Marx and Engels played as the Marx brothers.
Yes, or both played as Groucho Marx. They're both. We've got a Groucho Marx symmetry thing going on, but yeah, so we're enjoying that. Lots of Groucho gags.
Well, I cannot recommend Demons too highly to you. Catherine's doing a great job putting it all together. I have to tell you, the most impressive thing about Catrin is she is the daughter of a Welsh rugby internationalist. So come and see next week's show for that reason alone.
Excellent.